Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The hady and the udhiya, the sacrifice, the hajj and Eid sacrifice in the Hanbali school. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalam ala Rasul Kareem. ربنا تقبل منا زدنا علما وحكمة وهدى اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد عبدك ورسولك النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما أعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا اللهم آتنا نفوسنا تقواها وزكيها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها اللهم ارحم شيوخنا أما بعد. All the praises are to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the command in the past and in the future. Everything happens because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may Allah's blessing be on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the example that we follow, the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And today we're going over Imam al-Sunnah Ahmad Ibn Hanbal, his explanation on the rulings pertaining to the Hajj and the Eid sacrifice. And these are the different rules pertaining to it. So first, before we start, I want to go over a few definitions, what they mean by those different things. First thing, you have the definition called Qurbani. Qurbani is a definition. What that means, sacrifice. So what happens is when a person, they sacrifice an animal, they sacrifice it to a god. So when we sacrifice an animal, we sacrifice it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they mean that Qurban, when a person, they do a sacrifice, the animal for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's what that's referred to, Qurbani. And in the Qurbani, there's three different types of Qurbani. One is the Eid sacrifice, which they call Udhiya. Udhiya. And the name of Udhiya, it comes from the time that you do the sacrifice, which is Duha in the daytime. So they use the word Udhiya, referring to the time of Duha. That's literally what the word means for Udhiya. And that's when people in the whole world, what they do is they sacrifice an animal. There's rulings pertaining to that on the Udhiya. Then you have what's called the hady. Hady is when people, they go to the hajj, and what they do is they do the umrah first, then the hajj afterwards, then they have to sacrifice a hady. And literally hady, it means a gift. So people, what they do is they go there to answer the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and what they do is they give the gift for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by distributing the animal to the poor people and the needy and other people in Mecca, and that's the term that they use for it, for hadi. So that's what you do is when you go for the hajj, you do the hadi. So udhiya and hadi is pretty much the same rulings on the type of animals and things like that. That's the same thing. The third type, they call it an akika. Akika is when a person, they have a child, a girl or a boy, and then on the 7th day or 14th or 21st day, what they do is they sacrifice an animal, and the animal they sacrifice is called the akika. And the term akika, literally, it means, what do you call it, like disrespecting. That's literally what that means, akika. Like ukukul walidain, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ukukul walidain, person should not disrespect their parents. So that's what the term comes from. And some of the ulama, they say akika refers, they call it that name because you take the hair, and you discard the hair. So that's literally why the term is given. So those are the terminologies that we have. So what we have is, in the lesson today, we have the udhiya and the hadi. The udhiya is an Eid sacrifice, and the hadi is a sacrifice that a person, they do when they go for the hajj. And this is the rulings that's given by Imam al-Sunnah Ahmad Ibn Hanbal. He explains the rulings by the Sheikh Ibn Qudamah al-Maqdisi. He explains in the summary of the rulings on it. So somebody like to read number one, Brother Ibrahim? Read number one. Yes. So both of these, the Sheikh, he calls it a sunnah. So you have different rulings in the different schools, but the udhiya, in the Hanbali school, they consider that to be a sunnah to do the udhiya. The hajj sacrifice, it depends on the situation. If you did the umrah before the hajj, then you have to do the hadi. That's the case to it. But if you don't do the hadi, then what you can do is you can do the fasting instead. So maybe that's why he mentions that to be a sunnah. So that's the ruling in the Hanbali school, that it's a sunnah, the udhiya. Basically, the rulings here talk about the udhiya, so what you do on the Eid sacrifice. So it's considered to be a sunnah, tradition of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and emphasize sunnah. So if somebody is great need and can't afford it or something like that, then it's a sunnah, so then the person, they have an excuse not to necessarily do it. Okay, so that's the ruling in the Hanbali school. Okay, somebody like to read number two?
Number two is not obligatory except
Yes. So things that are sunnah, what happens is it doesn't become obligatory. But if a person they vow to do it or make an oath to do it, then it changes from an optional act to an obligatory act. Because Prophet Muhammad he said, if you vow to do something good, then do it. And the ulama they take that as a principle. That what happens is all these acts that are sunnah, like the ittikaf is a sunnah, praying the salat after duhur, for example, is a sunnah. But if a person they vow to do it, it changes from a non-obligatory act, from a optional act to an obligatory act. So, like for example, if a person they say I'm going to pray 10 rakats of nafil, right? So that's optional for a person. A person they can pray the 10 rakats. But then if a person they say I vow to pray 10 rakats, then what happens? It becomes obligatory on that person to pray the 10 rakats. And likewise, the fasting. If a person they say I'm going to fast 2 months, right? That's optional. If he wants, he can. If he doesn't want to, he doesn't have to. But then if he says I vow to fast 2 months, then that changes from something that was optional into an obligatory. So he has to do it now. He has to fast the 2 months, or he has to make the expiation for the vow. One of those two things. So it changes from an optional act to a required act. And even in the case of the fasting, if he doesn't do it, then the inheritors of him they fulfill it on his behalf. So that's what the Shaykh mentioned here for the Udhiya sacrifice and the hady sacrifice. If a person they vow to do it, then it becomes an obligation. Otherwise, it's just a sunnah. Okay. All right. Let's go to number 3.
وَالتَّضْحِيَةُ أَفْضَلُ مِنَ الصَّدَقَةِ بِثَمَنِهَا, and the udhiyah is better than giving its value in charity.
Yes. So some people they might say, "Oh, you spend this money on the udhiya, on the sacrifice. Why don't you just take this money and give it to the poor?" So the Sheikh he said it's better to do the udhiya than to take the money and give it to the poor. That's what the Sheikh said. Because this is following the tradition of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the reason that you give the sadaqah is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Sadaqah means you're truthful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You do it to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to do the udhiya. It's a sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that's, if a person they do that, that's what the Sheikh says. It's better to do the udhiya, to sacrifice the animal, than to give the money in charity.
Sheikh, I had a question about the, you said about the aqiqah, it was
Yes.
because of like almost disrespecting, or it symbolizes maybe the removal of hair. Is that right?
Yes, that's what some of the ulama
Is it the
say.
case that girls are not supposed to cut their hair? Are you supposed to cut the hair of boys and girls, or
Yes,
not girls?
okay, I believe so. I believe that's the ruling for the girls. Because what happens is the baby's in the womb, and then all around the womb has a lot of najasa. So that's why they shave the hair of the baby. In that case, to remove all the effect on it while it was in the womb of the mother.
Right, and then the hadi will be obligatory on the one who does tamattu or qiran, right?
Yes.
Or else he has to fast. Yeah.
Right. Yes.
So the default is sunnah because it's not guaranteed that the person does tamattu or qiran. He could do ifrad, for example.
Yes, I think the Sheikh was basically talking about the udhiya.
In general, okay.
He wasn't talking necessarily about the hadi.
Okay.
Maybe he's talking about the person that's there in the hajj but didn't do the umrah beforehand.
Got it.
So then then he could do the hadi.
Okay.
As a sunnah to do the hadi.
Okay.
But if you did the umrah beforehand, فَمَنْ تَمَتَّعَ بِالْأُمْرَةِ إِلَى الْحَجِّ فَمَا اسْتَيْسَرَ مِنَ الْهَدِي.
Yeah.
It's easy for a hadi. That's what's mentioned in the Quran. So that's an obligation to do that. If you do the umrah first, then the hajj.
Yes, I got a question.
Yes, sure.
The word udhiya, I don't know what is.
Udhiya is a sacrifice that we do on the day of Eid al-Adha, which is the 1 year Hajj. And then whoever is able should sacrifice an animal. So udhiya, it literally, I think it means to sacrifice, right? Or to shed blood, maybe?
It literally means the time, duha, which means the daytime. You have Eid al-Adha, and they refer to the time, and they give the name Udhiya because you do it on Eid al-Adha. 10th of Dhul Hijjah, the second Eid, not the one after Ramadan, the other Eid, right? So they go and they sacrifice. You've never done that before? You've never done that before?
I did. I do it. I've been doing it over 20-something years.
Yes,
but
yes.
This is a good work. This is what I want to ask. I live in America.
Yes.
But I always go to Africa. I buy like maybe 5, 10, 15 people. I buy them the sacrifice.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and I'll send them money. But sometimes, since I'm here, and back then, before moving to Dallas, I was in an area, it's like interacting with fellow Ummah like this, was, and what I do, I will send money to sacrifice one on my behalf as well.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know if that is, you know,
Yes. No, for that there's different imams. They say different things. So go by your imam, inshallah, what they say, because they have different views.
But
of
you
the
do
imam.
want to
But
do
most,
one for yourself too. Like, if you send something,
yeah,
yeah, right? He's saying he's doing it on other people's behalf,
yes,
but he should also do it on his behalf. Yes.
yes,
yeah,
yes,
I
you
do
do.
it
Yes.
on my behalf. Like my wife, I will send money like,
Yes.
okay,
Yeah, that's fine. That you done the sacrifice for
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Issue is doing it overseas, having it done overseas, not locally.
yeah,
So what happens? Maybe some of the ulama they have an issue with that. So that's why I say go with your imam. What he says. What's the ruling on that? But that's sufficient for it. If you can't do it, if you don't do it here, if you hire somebody to do it in Africa or some other place, that's fine. That counts as a udhiya as well, normally speaking. But the thing is, a lot of times you have the rulings like when you give the zakat and the charity, you try to give it locally, not overseas, unless you have relatives overseas, then you can send them overseas. So some of the ulama they talk about that. The reason for that is when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told Muadh ibn Jabal to go to Yemen, he said take from the wealthy of them and give to the poor of them. So what that means is to leave the charity within the same area. And when they go outside of the area, then that's why some of the ulama they have an issue with that.
Maybe we could say that it's better to do it in your own area.
Yes,
That way
yes.
you get to feed your relatives, your family, you
yes.
eat from it, and you feed the poor people here.
Yes.
So if we all do it back home, then who's going to feed the poor people here? The meat,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So
Well, it's coming up later on. It's talking about the recommendation. The one that's a sunnah. It said 1/3 for yourself, 1/3 for to give as a gift, and 1/3 to give to the poor. So that's what's mentioned over there. So that's another thing also that's mentioned about that. But what you do is fine. I've done that for a few years also. Many years. I sent it overseas to maybe Philippines or something like that to do the udhiya on my behalf. It was cheaper. Over here it's very expensive. Over here to sacrifice a sheep maybe is like nowadays it's maybe like $700, $800. You do it over there, it's like a tenth of that much. So you do that, inshallah. No.
all right, number
Okay,
4.
inshallah. So the udhiya is on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. You sacrifice an animal, and the people that go for the hajj, they have the hady. So those are the main things that he's talking about. Okay, let's read number 4. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
The best for it is camels,
Mhm.
cows, and sheep and goats.
Yes. So the most virtuous animal to slaughter first is the camels, then cows, then the word that he uses next, thumma ganam, sheep and goats. And the reason that they make that distinction because there's another hadith that says when a person they go for the Juma Salat, the person that goes at the earliest time is like they slaughtered a camel. Then at the next time they slaughtered a cow. Then the next time they slaughtered a sheep. The next time a chicken. The next time an egg, and so on. So the first thing that's mentioned is a camel. So that's why the Sheikh he mentioned. He goes by the hadith. The Sheikh always mentions the things in the points. It's always mentioned in hadith. So that's why he says the camel is the most virtuous, and then after the camel you do the cow, and then the sheep and the goats.
Is it the case, Sheikh, even if you're sharing? So does this mean the share of a cow and a camel is 7?
Yes.
So even if you're sharing, it's better to give a share of a camel than it is to give a share of a cow.
Yes, that's what it looks like. The apparent thing.
I see.
No, you can do the whole animal yourself, but usually you do it in sevenths.
So then even sharing into the 7th is better. So in that case, sharing a cow is better than giving a sheep?
That's what it looks like. That's what the Sheikh said. So
Is it saying that you have to camel come first?
No,
this
that's
is
the
the best. Meaning, if you want to do something better, it would be better to do camel. But it would be not as good, but still good to do cows.
Yes.
But then the one that is the least preferred would be the sheep and goat, but it will be enough still.
Yeah, you can do any one of them.
Yeah.
Just what's the most rewarding, the most virtuous. That's what he's saying.
Because I know that in Africa you will see someone have money for 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 a lamb, for a cow actually, but he will rather buy a lamb. And if you believe in my country, lamb is more expensive than cow. It costs more, but people will skip the cow and buy lamb.
Because they like the taste, maybe. They like the taste of the lamb, maybe. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, the thing to bear in mind is that these things are for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sacrifice for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you want to give something good for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not something that's faulty. You know, so if a person may think that, then, you know, maybe the ruling will change, maybe, you know. So Allahu Alam. But this is what the Sheikh, he said. This is Ibn Qudamah, 700 years after the Hijrah, so this was 700 years ago. And he lived in Damascus in Syria. So that was the area that he was in, so he gave that ruling there. No, and I know what you mean. Over here too in America is the same deal. Beef is cheaper than sheep meat and goat meat. So if you do that, then it's like more expensive. So a person, they might
Where
say
did
that,
he live, Sheikh?
He lived in Damascus in Syria. No, Ibn Qudama, so that's the place where you say.
So in the year 700.
Yes, 700 years after Hijrah.
So he's living in the Abbasi Khilafah then.
I think so, around the time of Ibn Taymiyyah and.
Yeah, in the time that the capital is in Baghdad, I think at this time.
Yes, I think so. Yes, I'm gonna look at my history.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay, inshallah. So the reason he mentions those is because it's mentioned in the hadith al Juma that the person that goes at the earliest time is as if they sacrificed a camel, and the second time is a cow, then the third time is a sheep, fourth time is a chicken, and the last time is an egg, the earliest time. So that's why he mentions that particular order. No. But it's not necessary to do that. But anyway, no, a person, most people, they just slaughter a sheep or a goat, and you know that's sufficient. All right, so let's go to number 5, Brother Ibrahim.
It is recommended for it to be good and fattening.
Yes. So the animal you're given is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so you want to have a good quality animal, and an animal that's not, you know, that's not skinny, but a good, big fat animal, good quality animal, no? For
Istihsanuha, meaning a good, like excellent in its quality, and then istismanuha is it should be fat, huh?
Yes, fat animal. Yeah. Then he talks about, you know, the other points he talks about which ones a person should avoid, you know, because they have faults in it, you know, and the other points coming up. Okay, you read number 6.
ولا يجزئ إلا الجذع من الضأن. It is not allowed except جذع.
Yes.
جذع from the ضأن, which is from the sheep.
Yes.
So the sheep has to be at least 6 months old.
Right. Yes, that's what they mean by that. And these terms that they use is usually by the teeth. If they have 1 teeth or 2 teeth or teeth, things like that. So a sheep, usually they say 6 months old or older. If it's less than 6 months old, then it's be too small. That's what they say. So 6-month-old sheep. And you read number 7, Brother Ibrahim. And?
A year-old goat.
Yes, and a goat that's 1 year old. Usually goats are smaller than sheep. So if you have a 1-year-old goat, then it's approximately the same size as a 6-month-old sheep. So that's the ages for them. 6-month-old sheep or 1-year-old goat. In some other narrations, they use 1 year or 2 years. They say 1 year in the sheep and 2 year in the goat. But anyway, this is what's most common. At least 6 months old in the sheep and 1 year old in the goat. Okay, read number 8.
5-year-old camel.
Yes, in the camel, 5 years old. That's what that's referred to. 5 سنين إبل مع أكمل 5 سنين. 5 years old camel. And number 9, Brother Lisan Bhai.
Yeah, so reading the Arabic here, وَثَنَى الْمَعْزُ مَا لَهُ سَنَةٌ. So, وَثَنَى, what is thana? The second? Okay. Al-ma'zu is the goat.
Thaniya means like the teeth.
Oh,
you have
the teeth.
Thaniya, you have the, it's the what do you call it? The incisor teeth in the front teeth. Refer to that be the thaniya. I think that's
okay. وَثَنَى الْمَعْزُ. So the goat, مَا لَهُ سَنَةٌ. It has a year. وَثَنَى الْإِبْلُ مَا كمل له 5 سنين.
Yes.
The camel has to have 5 years.
Right. Yes.
And then ومن البقر ما له سنتان. And then the cow, it has to have 2 years.
Yes.
So why is he talking about thana? Why is he talking about teeth? Is it teeth? Or is it thana is the description of, or the age of?
Sana means year.
Oh, okay.
Sin
not
means
san.
teeth. Sin with a kasra means teeth, and sana with a fatha means
What about
years.
What about thana with the tha? Wathana. He keeps on saying wathana.
Sin means teeth. Sin with a kasra. Sin.
I gotcha. No, but
sana,
he's using tha.
Oh, thania.
Yeah, wathana. He says wathana right there in the beginning of 7 and 8. He says wathana al-ibilu.
You were thania.
Oh, wathaniel.
Yes.
Wathaniel ibilu.
Yes. Because what happens is the people, when they check the animals out, they put their hands in its mouth and see the teeth that it has. So that's what he's saying. So people, they determine, the age and things like that by the animal. So they look to see. And what happens is and they use the same term for a cow, tabi'i, or what's the other, musinna.
Okay.
The one that has the teeth, the one that follows. So that's what it means. Thania. Thania means the teeth.
Okay. So these are the rules basically. The sheep has to be 6 months old, goat has to be 1 year old, 5-year-old camel, or 2 years cow. Okay.
Right.
وتجزئ الشاة عن واحد والبدنة والقبرة عن 7.
Yes.
It is allowed for 1 share of a sheep and goat, and 7 shares in cows and camels.
Yes. So if you do a sheep or a goat, you got to do the whole thing for yourself. But if you do a cow or a camel, you have 7 people that can split in on it, on the cow or the camel. So you have the 7 shares on it. And the same thing in the hajj, when you go to the hajj, you do the hady, the same thing goes. But nowadays, when people, they go to the hajj, they buy the ticket, and then they slaughter on their behalf all the appropriate things. Okay. All right. So 7 shares in a cow and a camel, and just 1 in a sheep or a goat when you do the udhiya and the hady. Okay, let's go to 11. Now these are mentioned what's not allowed. Okay.
It's not allowed for a clearly blind animal.
Yes. Over here, maybe I translated this wrong. It said ora. Ora, it means cross-eyed. Ama means blind over here. And the reason we say that is because the ulama, the reason that they said not to slaughter a animal that's cross-eyed, because they can't see too good, and they're not going to eat the food too good. So what's going to happen is it's going to be like not eating enough. So it's going to be like not
like a sickly.
Sickly, right? Yes.
So like a cross-eyed, maybe it also has some kind of disease. If they're cross-eyed, maybe.
Yeah, that could be also. And what happens is, because some of the ulama, they say that completely blind is okay, because a completely blind animal, the owner gives the food to the animal, and that's going to be plump and fat. That's what mentioned some of the explanation when you look at the details. But the one that's ora, that's like cross-eyed, we can see somewhat, but like it's like not able to see properly. So that's what they mean. That's what they mean by ora. Ora is a term for it, because you have two different words in Arabic. You have ora, which means cross-eyed, and ama, which means blind completely. But some of the ulama make a distinction. If it's completely blind, they say that that's okay, because the owner feeds the animal plenty of food, and the animal is going to be animal's going to be a big fat animal. No, that's what they mean by it. Okay, let's read number 12.
Well, I'm not an emaciated animal that cannot fatten.
Yes. So not an animal that doesn't have any meat on it, like just all like skinny and scrawny animal. That's not allowed. Because the thing is, bear in mind that you're slaughtering this for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a qurban, sacrifice for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you want to have a good quality animal, not one that's scrawny and skinny and has no meat on it.
So what is عجفاء? ولا العجفاء التي لا تنقى. عجفاء is like a skinny animal. التي لا تنقى, the one that doesn't become fatter.
Yes, ijfa. It means one that's emaciated. That means it doesn't have like
skinny.
if the animal doesn't eat something for a long time, then it becomes like
too
scrawny and all bony.
Okay.
That's what that means.
تنقى means to fatten. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It
And then-
doesn't become plump. You could say.
Okay. ولا العرجاء بين ضلعها ضلعها.
Yes.
And so arja is like a clearly lame animal. So
Yes.
arja is one who cannot walk properly, I guess.
Right. Yes.
البين ضلعها وضلعها. ماذا ضلعها؟
ضليعة.
ضلعها is like in its gait, maybe like its walk.
Yes, maybe that's what that refers to. Gotta look up these. We could.
Interesting words.
Yes, you
are
can look
being
at some
used.
of the ulama. They explain it in detail, and also they have the Sheikh. He has a book called the Mughni. The Mughni is almost like 40 volumes. So if you look in there, then he'll a lot of explanation of what he means by it. No?
It seems like he's maybe trying to make some eloquence here because he keeps on saying ولا المريضة نل بين مرضها, and not the
Yes.
sick one that is surrounded by sickness.
Yes.
البينة, it means like it's has or
Bayin means clearly.
Oh, okay. البينة
Yes.
مرضها.
Yes.
Okay, so like a sick one that is clearly sick.
Yes.
Or like a lame one that's clearly lame.
Yes. And these things here is mentioned in hadith from Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It's not his explanation. Now, if you look at the hadith of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he'll mention that in a direct quote from the hadith. That when the animal you have, don't do this type, this type, this type. So he's mentioning those over here. No, it's not his explanation that this is good. This is right from the hadith from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Okay, inshallah. So that's the next one. If an animal, they say that if an animal can't walk properly, then it's not going to eat properly. It's not going to be, what do you call it? It's not going to be plump and one with a lot of meat. So that's a reason. That's the explanation that the ulama they give not to have these types of animals. Okay, number 14. Ibrahim,
Not a clear, yeah.
Yes, not an animal that's sick. No, you can't do that because keep in mind you're given the sacrifice for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so you want to have a good quality animal, not any of these with a fault on it. These aren't absolute forbiddances. These are just, things that are recommended to avoid. Okay, number 15.
Number 15, no, the one with most of its horn or ear missing.
Yes. So that's another thing that's mentioned in the hadith. If you have one that's missing most of its horn or most of its ear, then that one is not allowed either. And they have terms for that in the hadith. In the text of the hadith, they use terms for it, which refer to an animal that's missing its ear and missing its horn, because that's not allowed.
But I have a question on that. If it's a horn missing,
Yes.
is it like
A broken horn.
broken
Yeah.
horn? Okay.
Yes, I believe so. I believe it was broken afterwards, not born without horns. I don't think that's the case.
Because I know some part of the world you can see both male and female.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes. And the reason for that, I think some of the ulama, when the sheikh explained it, is that if his horn is broken, and maybe he got into a fight with another animal and got injured or something like that, So that's
So as if there's some deficiency within the animal, meaning
Yes.
it had an ear but the ear's gone,
Yes.
or it had a horn but the horn is gone.
Yes.
Right? But then he says وَتَجْزِئُ الْجَمَاءَ, so it is allowed to have an animal that does not have a horn at all.
Yes. Yes.
Right? وَالْبَرَاءَ وَالْبَتَرَاءَ, so the tail is cut is fine. وَالْخَصَاء, like it's castrated is fine. وَمَا شَقَتْ أُذُنُهَا أَوْ خَرَقَتْ أو قطع أقل من نصفها.
Yes.
So if its ear is slit or less than half of it is missing, there's no problem.
Yes. Okay. That's what the sheikh mentioned in those particular cases. Not like more than half of its horn is gone, or more than half of its ears.
Even if it's castrated, it's fine. That's kind of, I would think maybe that's not the case, huh?
I'm not a farmer, but sometimes people they do things like that to make the animal better quality and things like that.
Really
So,
interesting.
Because this past week, I want to buy, I was buying some lamb, and they told me there is the biggest one here, but it's castrated. That's why I know. And they say it's not good,
Oh,
and it
okay.
was the biggest, but the price was not buying it.
But it says here that that's okay.
Yeah.
So
Yes, that's fine. Some
that's-
people they
that's
do
what
that
I
on
see
purpose.
here.
They castrate the animal. I guess I'm not a farmer, but people they know they do things to make things for particular reasons. One of the questions somebody asked me If you castrate an animal, is that halal? The thing that you cut off.
What would? Oh,
And the
that's
answer is
weird.
no, it's not halal. No.
Oh, it's not halal.
Because cutting an animal while it's alive, the part that you cut off is not allowed. It's considered dead meat. So somebody asked me that. Somebody in the store.
Castrated.
Yes.
Is
While
not
it's
halal?
alive, if it's
No,
alive,
no. The piece that you cut off of an animal while it is alive, is haram.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So, for example, if you were to cut off its leg,
Yeah.
it's still alive.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to eat the leg. It's not allowed. But you have to do the sacrifice. You have to do the slaughter correctly.
Correct.
Only after the slaughter is the meat going to be halal.
yes. That's a hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What you cut off from a living animal, it's dead meat, considered meitata. So that was a question of person. Yeah, he owns a store over here, one of the stores here in the area, DFW area. So he asked me that question, so I gave him that answer. You have to slaughter the animal first and then cut the pieces off. If you cut it off while it's alive, then it's considered dead meat, meitata, dead meat. So
Meita is haram.
yes,
Meita is haram.
That's right. No, so I'm not a farmer, but people do things like that to, and it gives better quality animals or not, and who knows, So that's the things that they do. They castrate the animal. That's something that's done in the field of farming and raising animals. So he says it's allowed if the animal is castrated. That's fine, inshallah. Okay, inshallah. Let's go to number 20.
It is sunnah to slaughter a camel standing and left hand tied.
Yes. So the front left leg, the person they tie on the camel, and they do what's called the nahar. Now the nahar, what they do is they stab the animal. They take a spear, and they poke it in its neck, and they poke it down to its heart, and they call that nahar. The nahar.
Why do they only can't tie the left leg? Why not the right leg?
No, that's a sunnah to tie the left leg.
So
left
is the
front leg.
animal like sitting down then?
Yes, you tie it to keep it from running away. I guess, right? You're gonna go slaughter the animal. What's it gonna do? It's gonna run away. Right?
Yes.
You tie it. So that's what the sheikh said. Okay, so they have two terms. You have dubiha, which means you cut it on the neck, and you have nahar, which means that you stab it on the neck and poke it to its heart. So on the camels, then you do the nahar. You take a spear and you poke it on the neck, and it goes and it pokes it to the heart. That's what you do while its left leg is tied. And then for talking about number 21, for sheep and cows, what you do?
You put it on the side.
Yes, you put it on the side and you slaughter it on the neck. And the ulama sometimes, there's a whole chapter on that. They say you have to cut like a number of veins or a number of windpipe in the throat and things like that. So they talk about
Isn't
that.
it kind of hard to put the cow on its side?
Yes, it is. So the cow, the ulama, they say it's allowed the nahar also for cows. So both of them are allowed for cows, the dubiha and the nahar for the cows. But over here, I think the sheikh is going very quickly to explain the thing. So that's why he mentioned that. He didn't go into detail about it.
Yeah. ويقول عند ذلك بسم الله والله أكبر اللهم هذا منك ولك.
Yes. So this is the point when you slaughter the animal, you have to say the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The sheikh, he mentions in another lesson, if you purposely left it out, then the animal is haram. If you purposely left it out. If you forgot it, then that's fine, the animal is fine. But if you purposely left it out, then the animal is not allowed. So what do you say? Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. You don't say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, you say Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. And the sheikh explained, why do you say Bismillah, Allahu Akbar? The reason for that is because you have power over the animal, you're slaughtering it.
But
But Allah has more power over you than you have power over the animal. So you say Bismillah, say Allahu Akbar. Bismillah, and Allah is much greater. And then over here in this wording it says Allahumma hadha minka wa laka.
Yeah, this is from you to you.
And to you. The slaughter is for you, the Qurban.
Subhanallah.
Okay, inshallah. So you have to mention that one of the conditions that's there, that when you slaughter the animal, you have to say the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in the Hanbali school, they say if you purposely left out saying it, then the animal is haram. But if you forgot to say it, then it's allowed. That's what they'll say in the Hanbali school.
Sheikh, what happens if the one who's killing it is Christian? And then it's generally allowed that it's a Christian who's killing it. But then the Christian is not in the habit of saying Bismillah at all. He just doesn't say anything, he just kills it.
Yes. No, there's different rulings. When it comes to meat, there's a lot of different opinions from different imams. So a person, they should go by their imam, inshallah, the rulings that they have. There's a wide variety of opinions, what they
Yeah.
say, and there's a different variety of rulings.
So, because I mean, we said in principle, is the person who says it and then forgets is fine.
Yes.
But what if the person intentionally leaves it out? Then it's not fine. But what if the person has a habit of not saying it at all? Is that intentionally leaving it out or forgetting?
Yes, that's in the Hanbali school. That's what they say. But there's other schools also. There's the Shafi school, the Maliki school, and the Hanafi school. So they have different rulings in the different schools.
Okay. Yeah.
So in the Hanbali school, that's the ruling that he has. Ahmad Ibn Hanbal.
I mean, if the person doesn't ever say it, then they don't say it. Then it kind of sounds like they left it out intentionally, right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
In the Hanbali school, they say would not be allowed. The Hanbali school. Other schools they might allow it. In that case. Okay, so now the next one he talks about the recommendation number 23.
It is
not preferred to slaughter it except for Islam.
Yes, so that's what the Sheikh says. Preferred for a Muslim to slaughter the animal, not a Kitabi, not a Christian or Jewish, because this is the Qurbani for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Udhiya and the hady sacrifice is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so it's recommended for a Muslim person to slaughter it. So
but a non-Muslim can slaughter it.
Yes,
it's just not recommended.
Right, that's what it says. Okay, and then number 24.
If the owner of the animal slaughters, that is better.
Yes, it's afdal. The person they're going and purchasing the animal from somebody, if that owner, if he does the slaughtering, then that's also, he's considered that to be.
Is it that owner or I am the owner since it's on my behalf?
No, if you, not yourself, he said the one that owns the animal. So obviously you're buying it from somebody, then that person that's the owner of the animal.
Don't I become the owner if I bought it?
That's what he says over here. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Why would he say that?
وَإِن ذَبَحَهَا صَاحِبُهَا فَهُوَ أَفْضَلُ. So when I buy the animal to slaughter it on my behalf, I am the صاحبها. Yeah, I am the owner. Perhaps what he's saying is it's better that the person who's slaughters his own animal as opposed to someone else slaughtering on his behalf. وَإِن ذَبَحَهَا صَاحِبُهَا فَهُوَ أَفْضَلُ. The one who owns the animal slaughtering the animal is better. Well, if I buy an animal for my slaughter, then it's my animal.
Okay, inshallah, he can,
right?
he can do that. But he mentions the other things also and some other points, inshallah. So.
I thought this was the case in general, Sheikh, that it's better that a person who's doing the slaughters on his own behalf. This is better than the one he makes someone else slaughter, right? Right? Is that not the case? I thought that was the general case.
Yeah, I think it means like where a person they're purchasing the animal from.
Okay.
And then they'll have that person slaughter the animal to Muslim. I think that's what it means, So maybe I'm mistaken. No, I don't know. Maybe that's what he means there. But he talks about the butcher and things like that afterwards also.
ووقت الذبح يوم العيد بعد صلاة العيد. So the time of the slaughter is after Eid on the day of Eid, after the Eid Salah.
Yes.
إلى آخر يومين من أيام التشريق.
Yes, so that's a very important point.
Days.
That you don't slaughter before the Eid Salat.
It won't count.
And this is from Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He said that because if a person they do that, they become too busy, and they're not going to go for the Salat. So you do the Salat first, and it's recommended for the Imam to do the slaughter, show the people how to do it, and then the people they do it after the Eid Salat, then the person they have plenty of time. And then a person, they don't have to do it on the exact day of the 10th of Dhul Hijjah. They have the Yom al-Tashriq also to slaughter the animal. They can do it on the 11th, 12th, or 13th. That's also the Sunnah.
What is the end of the 13th day? It's until just
Maghrib
before
time.
Maghrib, right?
Maghrib
On the
time,
13th day.
Yes, because on those days you do the Takbirat also. And you stop on the same time. So you have that until the end of the days of Tashriq. That's the time to slaughter the Udhiya.
What is Tashriq and 13th? What does it?
Tashriq is the days after the Eid day, 11th, 12th, and 13th of the Yom
So
Tashriq.
Eid is on the 10th. So the day of Eid, you can do the sacrifice once the Salah is over. Right? But then if you don't want to do it that day, you can do it the next day, the 11th. Right? You can do the 11th. You don't want to do it that day, you can do it the 12th. You don't want to do it, you can do it the 13th. But this is the recommended time that you do it. Is recommended or is okay to do it even after, Sheikh?
Yes, it's okay to do it afterwards. Because Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Yom Tashriq, Ayam Yakul wa Yashrib wa Yadhkurullah. On the days of Tashriq, it's days of eating and drinking and remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they say it's haram to fast on those days as well.
Sheikh, if the person does the slaughter, the udhiyah, before the Eid Salah, will it count?
No, it doesn't count.
What if he does it after Ayyam al-Tashriq?
No, it's just a regular sacrifice. Man.
So it doesn't count as the udhiyah, it will just be a...
Yeah, remember the first point, that the udhiya and the hady is a sunnah.
Yeah.
Only if you vow to do it, then you got to make sure that you do everything properly.
Yeah.
If you didn't vow to do it, then that's fine. You know, you can do it. You can do it afterwards, inshallah. But it's not exactly according to the sunnah, inshallah.
I got you.
Yes, sir. This is very interesting because I know I do hear people say because it say you can slaughter the 10, 11, 12, the 13. But some people still say that, those three, when you slaughter, you cannot keep the meat more than 3 days. You have to
distribute it?
Distribute or eat it after 3 days.
Why?
Well, the thing is, in the old days, they didn't have refrigerators,
Yeah.
So you can't keep the meat.
It's going to go bad,
It's going to go bad,
But now you can freeze it, no problem. Yeah.
And after 3 days, still you can freeze it.
Yeah, why not?
The refrigerator only came like the past 100 years or so. They didn't have them before that. So
Perhaps
if you started
before-
the animal, you had to make sure that you eat
Perhaps
it right
before,
away.
they didn't want you to waste the meat. Right?
Yeah.
So if they eat it, it's going to go bad. But there's no religious injunction that you have to eat the meat within 3 days. No.
And in Africa, I think still.
Yeah, maybe like in Africa, some people
They still get that.
they have to finish the whole
Still.
Oh, then we're going to get really full. There's lots of meat.
They be like, you have to eat it 3 days. And after 3 days, if you don't.
I've never heard this before. Sheikh, is this a thing
Yeah,
in the
I think
religion?
in the Maliki school they have something like that. They mentioned that.
Really?
Yes.
But even if they did, that would be afdal. It wouldn't be wajib or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, back then they didn't have the preservation of the meat, so it's not going to last 3 days anyway.
Maybe the Maliki, where from Africa?
Yeah,
Gambia.
like the Gambia, like they put on
What's the madhab in the Gambia?
Yes.
It's Maliki?
Yeah.
But
What do the Malikis say?
The thing, it is, I'm sorry, I'm not
Yeah.
cutting. But I used to see being so, because, the day of the when they slaughter, people will eat to get up to the point they'll get sick.
So full because I have to eat all the meat now.
Because they want to eat.
So they did not finish the meat. What happens on the fourth day?
No, it's not going to reach 4 days. They want to eat.
They're gonna eat it.
That's what they.
They have to eat all the meat in 3 days.
And in
Allah.
that 3 days, it's like a lot of it. And after everybody will get sick.
Yes.
They
Inshallah,
will get sick.
it's
They
a
get
day-
sick from eating too much meat.
No, okay, eating too much. Well, it's
You
a
got the
days of
meat
Eid,
sweats.
so people should celebrate on it. So alhamdulillah, they have food, so that's good on the days of Eid.
Well, they
inshallah.
should enjoy the meat, not have to eat it because they think for some reason they have to. What's the? Are you familiar with this Maliki ruling, Sheikh?
Yeah, I think there's a hadith that mentions something similar to that. I
But
don't remember.
is it the case that you have to eat the meat, or I mean, if you're full, then what are you gonna do? It's too much meat.
Give it to other people then,
But everyone is too full because everyone's doing it. Now the whole people have to eat the meat in 3 days. That sounds. I don't know. That doesn't sound right. We can freeze it, or maybe they will smoke it, or they preserve it in some way.
Yes, inshallah.
Interesting.
No, inshallah. Okay, let's go to, I think it's almost Isha time, so let's try to finish up, inshallah.
Yeah.
Quickly, inshallah.
All right. وتتعين الأضحية بقوله هذه أضحية. So specify that this is أضحية by saying this is أضحية. والهدي بقوله هذه هدي وإشعاره وتقليده مع نية. And adorn it with the intention.
So in the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he went to the Hajj, there were 100 camels, and he specified them by making a mark on their humps. So that's what he's mentioning over here.
How did he specify?
I think he poked them or something like that. So you got to look in the hadith that these are for the ones for.
So you mark them. It's anyway, then it's good.
Yes, to adorn it. What's the word? Taqlidahu. No, that's what he's mentioned. So that's what he's mentioned in the hadith. It's mentioned that in the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they did that for the hadith. Okay, let's go to number 30.
Okay.
Read that one there.
Don't give the butcher any of it as payment.
Yes. So if you slaughter the udhiya, you cannot give as a payment to the butcher any of the meat. You have to pay him separately from that. Because the whole udhiya is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's one of the conditions. This is mentioned explicitly in the books of fiqh.
So you can't sell it. You can't sell the udhiya.
Yes, you can't give it to the butcher as payment. Some people, what they do is they say the butcher comes and give them the skin or something like that. That's not allowed. You have to pay them separately from the animal.
And we do that. I think everybody does that in my
Yes,
country.
that's not allowed. You can't. You have to pay the butcher separately. You can't give them from the animal.
Yeah.
That's the point there. Okay, let's go to number 31.
والسنة أن يأكل ثلث
Thuluth.
أضحيته ويهدي ثلثها ويتصدق ثلثها. It's sunnah
Yes.
to eat a third and to give gifts from a third and to give a third in charity.
Yes, so the udhiya that you do, 1/3 you keep for yourself, 1/3 you give to your friends, and 1/3 you give to sadaqah. That's the sunnah to do
Give
that.
a gift to who? Anyone?
Yeah, your friends.
Like family even?
Yes.
I mean, a
family, your
person
friends.
himself is not going to eat a third. Does this mean like a family? He
Yes,
should feed his
his
family.
own family. That's what that refers
I
to.
see.
Okay, number 32.
Yeah, if one gives more, it is allowed.
Yes, if a person they take more than a third, then it's not a explicit obligation that you can only keep 1/3. You can keep more than a third also. All right, number 33.
Utilize the skin
Mhm.
and not sell it for any profit.
Yes, so the skin that you can't sell it off because this is the sacrifice for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have to utilize it and make use of it.
What is
Or
ولا
throw it.
ييأ منها?
Mhm.
ولا ييأ منها ولا يبيعه ولا ييأ منها وله أن ينتفع بجلدها. He should benefit from the skin of it. ولا يبيعه. He should not sell it. ولا شيئا منها. Oh, ولا شيئا منها. He should not sell any portion of it. He
Yeah,
should
I
not
believe
sell
that's
the skin of it nor any part of it.
Yes.
So he can't like take the meat and be like, I'm selling some meat. Right?
No,
He
can't
cannot
sell it.
sell at all.
Right, yes.
The
And
meat
skin
or
also.
the skin or anything from it.
Yes, you utilize the skin or you just discard it. No, but you can't sell it. The skin. That's what the Sheikh mentioned.
So he would just throw it away.
Right. I mean, nowadays that's what people they do. They don't use the skin nowadays. But back then they utilized the skin. No. No. Okay, let's go to number 14.
34.
34.
If it is a non-obligatory hady, it is preferable to eat from it as the Prophet
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
ordered a piece of the camel to be cooked, and he ate from its meat and drank from its blood.
Okay, so the hadi is what you do when you go for the hajj. If you do the umrah first and then the hajj afterwards, then it's an obligatory hadi. If you didn't do the umrah first, it's a non-obligatory hadi. So it's saying that if it's a non-obligatory hadi, then Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he cooked it and he ate it from itself. So that's what the Shaykh is making a distinction between the two types of hadi, whether you can eat it or not. Right? All right, let's go to number 35.
ولا يأكل من واجب إلا من هدي متعة والقران.
Yes.
متعة والقران. So he's saying if it's a charitable hadi, not required, you can eat from it, and it's good to eat from it. The Prophet ﷺ ate from it. And then if it's from tamattu or qiran, from hadi, from the hajj, this is also allowed to eat from it. But if it's basically the only other kind of hadi that is required is the nadhr,
Yes.
right?
Yes. I
So
guess
only
that's what
for
that
the
means.
nadhr you're not allowed to eat.
Right, yes, that's what it looks like, what that's saying, you know?
Ah,
Okay, so let's go to number 36.
okay. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم.
The Prophet may Allah blessing be upon him, and peace said, whoever want to do it, do an here, and enter the 10 days of Dua, Hijjah. Do not take anything from his hair or nails until the Udhiya.
Yeah. So until he sacrifices, he should not
Yes.
cut his nails or hair.
Yes.
So
So
is
this-
this a prohibition or a recommendation?
No, this is a requirement, for this is mentioned in the Hanbali school. I believe in the other schools as well. I think it's mentioned also. I think in the other school, maybe not in the Hanafi school.
I think the Ahnaf, they take it as a as
Right.
makruh,
Yes.
not.
So what happens
haram.
is in the first days of Dhul Hijjah, when that comes in, the person they intend to sacrifice a udhiya, then they should not cut their nails or their hair until they sacrifice the animal. That's the ruling that they have.
Yeah, the hadith here, وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من أراد أن يضحى فدخل العشرة فلا يأخذ من شعره ولا من بشرته شيئا حتى يضحى أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام.
Yes. So this here, the ulama, they say a person, they try to be like in unison with the people in the Hajj and the Umrah, people there in the Ihram, so they don't cut their nails or their hair. So they say the same thing for the people that are going to sacrifice an animal. They don't cut their nails or their hair until the people that intend to do that, inshallah. So that's the ruling for it. Okay, inshallah, so stop over here. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayk. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Have the questions after the salat, inshallah. Okay.